The Pacific War, also known as the Asia-Pacific War, was one of the two major theaters of World War II, spanning from December 7, 1941, to September 2, 1945. It was a vast and brutal conflict between the Allied powers, primarily the United States, the British Empire, China and Australia, and the Empire of Japan. Fought across thousands of miles of ocean, islands and jungles, the Pacific War was marked by devastating battles, immense suffering and the first and only use of nuclear weapons in warfare. Origins of the conflict. Tensions between Japan and Western powers had been growing since the early 1930s. Japan's invasion of Manchuria in 1931 and its full-scale war with China beginning in 1937 revealed its imperial ambitions. Seeking to dominate Asia and the Pacific, Japan aimed to secure natural resources and strategic territory. The United States, Britain and the Netherlands responded with economic sanctions, including an oil embargo, which severely threatened Japan's industrial and military capabilities. Rather than retreat from China, Japan decided to strike preemptively to eliminate the U.S. Pacific Fleet and secure a vast defensive perimeter. Pearl Harbor and the spread of war. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, crippling much of the U.S. Navy's battleship fleet. The attack also targeted American bases in the Philippines and other Pacific locations. The following day, the United States declared war on Japan, officially entering World War II. Germany and Italy, allied with Japan through the Tripartite Pact, declared war on the U.S. shortly after. In the months that followed, Japan rapidly expanded its territory, seizing Hong Kong, the Philippines, Malaya, Singapore, the Dutch East Indies and many Pacific islands. This early phase of the war gave Japan control over a vast empire stretching from Southeast Asia to the Central Pacific. Turning the tide. Midway and Guadalcanal. The tide of the war began to turn in 1942. At the Battle of Midway in June, the U.S. Navy dealt a crushing blow to the Japanese fleet, sinking 4 aircraft carriers. This victory halted Japanese expansion and shifted the momentum in favor of the Allies. Later that year, the Guadalcanal campaign in the Solomon Islands marked the beginning of a grueling island-hopping strategy by the Allies. U.S. forces aimed to bypass heavily fortified Japanese positions and capture strategically important islands, building airfields and naval bases to support the push toward Japan. The brutality of the Pacific War. The Pacific War was characterized by its extraordinary ferocity. Japanese forces often fought to the death, adhering to the Bushido Code that discouraged surrender. This mindset led to brutal battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa, where U.S. casualties were staggering and Japanese defenders resisted until annihilation. Civilians also suffered immensely. Japanese atrocities included the rape of Nanking, 1937, and the Bataan Death March, 1942, while Allied bombing campaigns devastated Japanese cities. The Pacific War also saw the use of kamikaze suicide attacks by Japanese pilots in the latter stages of the conflict. The atomic endgame. By mid-1945, Japan was isolated and devastated, yet refused to surrender. The Allies demanded unconditional surrender, but Japan's leaders hesitated. To avoid a bloody invasion of the Japanese home islands, the United States made a fateful decision. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, killing over 100,000 people. 3 days later, a second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. On August 8, the Soviet Union declared war on Japan and invaded Japanese-occupied Manchuria. Faced with total destruction, Japan announced its surrender on August 15, 1945. The formal signing took place aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay on September 2, 1945, officially ending World War II. Aftermath and legacy. The Pacific War reshaped Asia and the world. Japan's empire was dismantled, and the country was occupied by Allied forces under General Douglas MacArthur. The U.S. helped rebuild Japan, transforming it into a democratic and pacifist state. Meanwhile, decolonization swept across Asia, ending centuries of Western imperialism. The war left a lasting legacy of trauma, heroism, and controversy. The use of nuclear weapons remains a subject of moral debate, while the stories of veterans, prisoners of war, and civilians highlight the resilience of the human spirit. The Pacific War, with its vast scale and unparalleled intensity, demonstrated the global reach of World War II and the devastating power of modern warfare. It remains a critical chapter in the history of the 20th century, a reminder of both the horrors of total war and the enduring hope for peace.